This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, let's do this, Jim. While we're waiting, they're doing all the big entrances, and now here comes The Rock. Let's go back to some fan questions here so we can get all those in this week. Gil Boldberg, that's right, Gil Boldberg writes in and says, was Vince Russo the only person who complained about the additional workload, or was it was for creative that came with Smackdown, or were there others behind the scenes who were vocal what a toll it was to work on an additional show?
Well, let's remember he was a salaried guy. The talents that were working another show were getting paid for another show's wage. So naturally, they wouldn't have as much to complain about because they're making more money, and that's why they're here. So I don't know that the talent so much as if there was any complaining of the fact that somebody may have lost what was heretofore a regular day off or something. I don't know, but Triple H had. Let's say Triple H never complained about nothing. He liked the more he could work, the better. But the bottom line is all the talents are getting paid for their efforts. If they were booked at TV, and if they were used or not, they got paid. They were on the pay sheet.
Gotcha.
And that saved a lot of, man, they're trying to kill us, working all these days. Because their predecessors, the immediate alumni that were coming in, or there, to tell you what they were working 300 days a year, and so the schedule is a lot lighter then or now than it was then. As we're watching this,
we are at the exact end of Vince Russo's run here, as he's only with the company for a couple more weeks. Did you see the exhaustion and burnout on Russo at this point as you think back to this time, Jim?
Well, stress. You can see he was under a lot of stress. He liked to be the only cook in the kitchen as best he could. And that's not unlike most bookers or whatever you want to call them. He didn't want to have a lot of people seasoning up his soup. So, but you could tell he was getting haggard, and, he probably could have taken a well-deserved break in the action and then maybe resume, but that's not how it worked out. But he got into a groove of he and Ed Ferrara writing the televisions, and they kind of did it on their own, and more often than not, they did a hell of a good job. But they certainly ran it all by Vince. It wasn't like they didn't have a filter; they did have a filter, and Vince approved everything that went on the air. So, but you could tell Russo was getting a little. He was it's one of my favorite dishes. He was experiencing the burnt end philosophy. There's a rib element to that. Burnt ends really good. If you ever try to burn in at a legitimate barbecue place that uses a smoker and they don't deep fry stuff, you'll find that burnt ends is a delicacy. So I think that's kind of where Russo was. He was a burnt end, and he didn't taste as good as he used to.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.